long ago, many thousands of years ago, here very close to this place, the Nandi temple where you see, Nandi Bhoganandishwara temple, which is at the bottom, foothills of Nandi, not the top one, the bottom one. There was an ashram of Kaushika Muni here. And he was performing a yajna for the sake of Loka Kalyanam, because the tradition of performing yajna yagas and upkeeping the Vedic traditions was the most sacred one. And it so happened that this Tataki and her two sons, this Maricha and Subahu, they were not happy with these yajna yagas. They were not happy that all these yajnas are going on, because all these yajna yagas increase the positivity, the purity, the spirituality, and that is not agreeable to the demons. The Rakshasas don't like it, because then they become weaker. That is the idea. These Rakshasas want to stop all these good work from happening. So they all came, Marichi, Subahu and Tataki. All of them came and they attacked the yajna. And they will come every day and do some kind of a mischief and trouble the sages and saints, and this was going on. It was going on for quite some time. Then sage Vishwamitra Kaushika, he thought, let me go and get Rama and Lakshmana to come and fight the demoness and her two sons. And he went all the way to Ayodhya to seek the help of Rama and Lakshmana. They had just returned from their Gurukula. They were still young boys. And he went to Dasharatha Raja, and when he arrived, Dasharatha was very happy. He said, why don't you take seat, take some rest, and then we will talk as to why you have come. And Vishwamitra said, no, I have no time for all this. I have come to seek your help. He said, if a Brahmin, and that too a Mahamuni like you, comes and asks for anything, I must give. Ask whatever you want. And then Vishwamitra said, I want to take Rama and Lakshmana with me, because I want them to come with me and fight the demoness Tataki and the Maricha and Subhahu. Dasharatha got fever. What is this? What kind of guru he is? Such small children he wants for his mission. We are there, older people, you please take us for the mission. Vishwamitra says no. And he gets angry. He says, it is not even my request now, it is my order. It's my order that you send Rama and Lakshmana with me. Dasharatha's heart is collapsing. And then he doesn't want to send Rama and Lakshmana, because he is a huge moha. He doesn't know who Rama and Lakshmana are. They are Sakshat Narayana and Adishesha. Who can harm them? Yet our Dasharatha and his Pitru moha, unable to see this, that they are divine born in his family. They are not his children. But he doesn't agree. So then Vishwamitra is getting angry now. So Vashishta, who is sitting there, he immediately calms Vishwamitra down and says to Dasharatha, Dasharatha, don't do this. You don't know who these Rama Lakshmana are. You don't understand their power. And there is a great reason why Vishwamitra has come to take them. It's for their future. Rama Lakshmana are incarnations. They are divine beings. In fact, no children is the child of the physical parents, because they can only give body. They can't give the jiva. That comes from elsewhere. We have now learnt enough in KATHOPANISHAD that the Atman is the one which continuously exists. The bodies come and go. But Dasharatha doesn't know all this Vedanta. He's a king and he's only interested in his children and progeny and prosperity and further continuing his lineage. That's all is Dasharatha's interest. So now what happens? Vishwamitra takes Rama and Lakshmana despite Dasharatha not wanting. Anyway, they go for the Paravidya Shivira. On the way, big forest comes. They have to cross Dandakaranya and come. This is Vindhya. This side of the Vindhya. That side of Vindhya is Ayodhya. This side of Vindhya is Vishwamitra's ashram. And in between is a huge Dandakaranya, which is right now the Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra. That area is Dandakaranya. So they both walk. Now Dandakaranya itself is full of Rakshasas. So on the way they finish their training also, killing a few Rakshasas here and there to finally reach Maricha and Subha. So they finish their primary school, high school, PUC and all that. And then finally through the forest they are walking and coming. This Vishwamitra taught them two big siddhis on the way as they were crossing from Dandakaranya, because both cannot sleep. One has to be awake to protect the others while they are passing through the forest. So for that, Bala Ati Bala, these are the two mantras Vishwamitra taught. And what they do, they remove your hunger and they remove your sleep. If you chant those mantras, then you don't feel hungry. Your body absorbs from the cosmic energy and remains healthy. How these rishis in the Himalayas, they don't eat for months and they are able to stay. We have heard of yogis who have not eaten at all for years. Recently only some news article came about one Rajasthan yogi. Finally left his body, but he had not eaten for more than 70 years. And that was a research was done by the scientists on his body as to how does he survive without eating. But he doesn't eat anything. So all kinds of people are there. Anandamayi Ma was there. She would not drink and eat. She'll always be in bliss. How does it all happen? Because they have some yoga siddhis. So Vishwamitra taught this yoga siddhi to Rama and Lakshmana. What is the yoga siddhi? First is Bala Ati Bala. No hunger, no sleep. Because these two things, when they come, we can't control our body. If hunger comes, we cannot control. Our mind will be in our stomach then. And if sleep comes, we cannot control. We will naturally fall asleep. Even in the midst of a war, we will fall asleep if we are sleepy. So these two things is very difficult to control. And see, they are the first two instincts. Ahara, Nidra, then Bhaya Maithuna. So this Ahara and Nidra have to be controlled in order to grow further. So Vishwamitra taught, this is Bala and this is Ati Bala, and both of them learned the mantra. They walked all the way from up north to this area. They fought the war with our Tataki. And they fought the war with Maricha and Subahu. It so happened that Subahu was destroyed, Tataki was destroyed, and all the other local Rakshasas who were accompanying them were all destroyed. Only Maricha, when he hit, he went and fell so far, it seems. Maricha alone was not destroyed. Now there is a significance. Because later on in Ramayana, Maricha only comes like the Mriga Maricha, Maricha Mriga, golden deer, and helps in abducting Sita. So he had a role. If Rama wanted, he could have destroyed this Maricha only then and there, but he didn't destroy. He left him because Ramayana has to happen. So there is a drama. That's why sages all Ramayana is Rama's drama. So there was a reason Rama left this Maricha, didn't kill him. And all this war happened right here, not very far. And the first Shivlingam here in this temple was installed by Sri Rama only. Very small lingam in the ashram of Vishwamitra. And then they left back. And on the way again they met. They went to Sita, got married to Sita, and then went to Ayodhya. All that happened. Vishwamitra took care of all that. Why I am saying is that this is how it is. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is a decline of dharma, what is decline of dharma? Atma dharma. When we forget that we are divine and we behave like animals and humans, in fact more animals than humans, we are forgetting our true dharma. That is when Lord comes in some way or some form or the other. And He protects the virtuous. And He corrects the wrong. Teaches them and corrects the wrong. And after that only the Lord leaves. So Ramayana started with the correction or protection of Vishwamitra and destruction of Tataki and Subahu, and ended at finally killing of Ravana. So Rama had come only for that, to preserve the dharma. In Kali Yuga, where is this dharma, where is this yuddha? It's happening within our own hearts. Our dharma is to realize who we are. Forgetting that, everything else we are interested in. Food, clothing, entertainment, education, employment, enjoyments, it goes on. But nobody is interested in this Atma Dharma to realize who they truly are. Knowing which, everything is known, it is said. That nobody is interested. So at that point in time, when the Maricha, Subahu, Tataki are all inside us in the form of our Raga, Dvesha, Moha, Krodha, Kama, Matsara, these are the Rakshasas, Arishat Vargas they are called. There are 6 Rakshasas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara. And what do they do? A yajna is going on inside us. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehama Brahma Padam Brahmahavi Brahma Gno Brahmana Utam. This yajna is going on inside us, not only for food, what we see through our eyes, what we hear through our ears, what we smell, what we taste, touch. All these are ahutis going on to Brahma. Where is Brahma? Yesterday no Angushta Matre, Purusho Madhya Atmani Tishtati. In our heart is this Purusha, Yajna Purusha, for whose sake this Yajnam is going on. All the good thoughts are being put, all the good ideas, good knowledge is being provided. But the unfortunate part is that this Yajna is being continuously disturbed. Disturbed by whom? Our own negativity, our own limitedness, our own delusions, illusions. And where are they arising from? When we think we are the body, all illusions are. Nanu deha ankond takshanave ee ella disturbance shuru agutte. So whatever we do for God is yajna. So when we want to do something for God, our only negativity is the Rakshasas inside will come and fight. No, don't do this, stop this yajna, because then their existence is destroyed. The Rakshasas will be destroyed. They don't want to be destroyed, so they want to disturb the yajna. Kali Purusha is nothing but the energy. That energy which is Rakshasic, demonic energy, which only thinks of body and its enjoyment. That is how Kali Yuga has come. So to stop that, if you do Brahma Jnana Yajna, then the Kali Purusha is not happy. And what he will do, he will not bring Rakshasas from outside. He will invoke Rakshasas from inside. Inside us all Rakshasas are there. Come on. Fear, greed, anger, lust, jealousy, disappointments, attachments. Come on, attack this person's mind now. Let the mind not do yajna. Let the mind not attain good things, godly things. This is the idea with which these negative energies fight back. So what is our role in that? We should invoke the blessings of Rama Lakshmana. Who are Rama Lakshmana within us? Viveka and Vairagya. Viveka, Vairagya, if we seek, and they come into our being, then they will allow this Jnana Yajna to happen. They will take care of all the other fears and apprehensions and delusions and attachments. They will take care. So invoke that Rama Lakshmana. Where is Rama Lakshmana? That is also within you. This is only Yajna Vedike, this is only Yajna Shale. In that only priest is the mind, and Yajna Purusha is Brahman, and the Rakshasas are Arishat Vargas, and our Viveka Vairagya, Rama and Lakshmana. And Buddhi is Vishwamitra, which teaches us how to use Viveka and Vairagya to destroy our Arishat Vargas and allow the mind with its senses to continue the yajna, that whatever we do it for God's sake, for Brahman's sake. He is the one, Madhya Atmani Tishtati, who is enjoying this yajna, who is getting stronger. With this idea, you live your life. Then there is no fear, no problem. Earlier, fears were outside. Rakshasas will come from outside. Now fears will come from inside. But also the strength of divinity is also inside only. And your buddhi is Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra means a friend of everyone. So Vishwamitra is your buddhi, is your real friend. What kind of buddhi? Sattvic buddhi, pure buddhi. Vyavasayika buddhi they call. Agreya buddhi, Sukshma buddhi. You know, so many names for that buddhi. With that buddhi, use Viveka Vairagya as your Rama and Lakshmana, and destroy the enemies, Arishat Vargas of Kama, Krodha, Loboha, Mada, Matsara, and let the mind perform this Brahma Jnana Yajna. Let ahutis of mantras, which we are reading from KATHOPANISHAD, go into yourself. Let Jnana Agni become strong and strong in you, and let Brahman accept this offering. With this idea, continue studying the things. And like that, every yuga, Sambhavami, Yuge Yuge. Now where, if avatar comes here, which Rakshasa should he fight? Where is it? Within you only avatar has to fight now. He can't, there is no Mahabharata Yuddha happening outside, or Ravana Rama Yuddha happening outside. Dasharatha is the 10 Indriyas. With him Rama lives, they say. So in 10 Indriyas, Jnanendriya and Panchendriya, that is where Atman Rama and Lakshman Manas, they live. And that is where Vishwamitra has gone and brought Rama from. And finally, when Rama destroyed the Dashamukha, the 10-headed Ravana, what did he destroy? He destroyed his own Panchendriya, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, means he conquered this Dehatma Bhava. This is what we mean by the first sloka, Paranchikhani Vyatrunat Swayambhu. The Lord destroyed the senses. It means he conquered the senses. Like Rama destroyed Ravana, 10 heads of Ravana are representative of 10 senses. Karmendriya and Jnanendriya. Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya is Vak, Pani, Padam, Upastha, Upayuhu. So these are the things that we have conquered. Rama can conquer this with Lakshmana's help. So think like that. Viveka, Vairagya are your best friends. They are your strength. Buddhi is the correct, right friend. Use the Buddhi correctly. And with that you can destroy your fears, apprehensions, doubts, confusions, and continue the yajna without stopping it, so that it achieves its desired result. At the end, you become a jnani. You become a Brahma jnani. That is the whole idea. And you get rid of body consciousness and you develop divine consciousness. As I said, the whole spirituality is only this, to get rid of body consciousness and to develop divine consciousness. That's all. One line. What are spiritual practices meant for? To dissolve the body's consciousness, Deha Bhava, and to develop God consciousness, Atma Bhava. That's all is the essence of all spiritual practices, whether you do Upasana, whether do you Seva, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. When we eat something good, do we say, today my tongue is very, very happy, it has tasted many good things? Or do we say, when we hear a good song, today my ears are very happy? Or do we say, today my eyes are very happy because we have seen something nice? No, what we say, I am very happy, I am happy. And where you feel the happiness, you don't feel it in the eyes, you don't feel it there, somewhere here you feel the happiness. So that Lord who resides experiences everything. That's why when you experience fear also, you feel here. When you feel happiness also, you feel here. In fact, anybody asks, where are you? I am here. You say, you put your hand on your chest, because somewhere there is the Brahmasthana. This is what we saw yesterday in the lotus shape, which is inverted. There is a bright light and is going in all directions like flames. In that center of the light is one yellow fire, which is like a grain. And the tip of that grain, there is this Paramatma Vyavasthitaha, and Sabrahma, Sashiva, Sahari, Sendra, Sokshara, Paramaswarata. He is only everything. Whichever God you call, whatever name you call, whatever form you worship, everything is that only, is the idea. See, in Kali Yuga, those people who do this kind of yajnas, earlier what kind of yajnas we were doing? Gayatri Homa, Saraswati Homa, and very famous Lakshmi Kubera Homa, and one more very, very famous Ayush Mahamrutyunjay Homa, and one more very famous Homa is Ashlesha Bali, all our papas should be destroyed, and Mahamrutyunjay Homa, death should be destroyed, and Kubera Lakshmi Homa, lot of wealth should be acquired, and Saraswati Homa, Buddhi should come. We were doing all these things. No demons had any problems with it. Yakendre idella superficial Homa. Prati week, every month, every year we have been performing such tremendous yajnas. But for what sake we were performing these? For the sake of attaining worldly wealth, worldly knowledge, good long life, brains, prosperity, for that sake. First time I told, keep all those Nachiketa Agni aside. Now let us deal with the true yajna, Brahma Jnana Yajna, let us begin. Look at the troubles that come. That is why I told Sahana Bhavatu, you have to chant with great sincerity. From the beginning I have been telling. Sahana Bhavatu, let us be protected. Why? These demons will attack. What kind of demons? 3 demons. Tapatrayas. That is why I told Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. 3 tapas are there for us. 1, which is coming because of gods. 2, which are coming because of the society around us. 3, which is coming because of our own self. Because of gods, no tapatraya came. Because gods were happy. They want this kind of yajna to happen. We didn't displease them. Because of society, tapatraya came. Because this is the end of Kali Yuga. This is the beginning of the end, as they say, of Kali Yuga. Kali means dark. Dark means ignorance. Ignorance means illusion that you are the body. This has to be destroyed. And that is why when we have taken up this yajna with such great strength and vigor, look at the troubles. Such troubles come. One, that can come because of gods who are not happy with our yajna. Like Indra was not happy when Krishna was not allowing them to worship Indra. He told, worship Govardhana mountain. Why do you worship Indra? And Indra came and showered so much of rain on the village. Ativrishti. That is Adi Daivika. Daivika we don't have any problem. All gods are with us. They are happy. But Adi Bhautika, when the physical elements which are there around us, the society, that trouble can come. And Adhya Atmika, that what we feel within ourselves, if we feel fear, if we feel anxiety, frustration, anger, disappointment, dejection, this is all adhyatmika enemies. So now you understand the very powerful mantra called Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Mavidvishavahai. So this is how we have to think of how important, how wonderful these scriptures are, where our rishis have experienced all this in the past. This is not for the first time. As today, I told you this Pauranika history of Nandi Hills and the place around. So this is how those wars happened in those days. In today, the war is within. You have to fight this war, as I said, follow the master, face the devil, fight till the end and finish the game. This is the 4 mantra. Follow the master, continue to focus on your Atman. You continue telling yourself, I am Atman alone and nothing less. And I am everything. Ishanam sarva bhuta bhavyasya. I am the Lord, I am the most powerful. What can anything do to me when I am the Atma Brahma Swarupa? Until Brahman desires, who can do anything? He will find ways to deal with things. With that feeling, with that faith, with that courage, follow the master. Then face the devil. What is the devil? A virus is not the devil. The fear that arises out of virus is the devil. As I said, half of our problems are psychological. Physical problems are only part. Psychological is the bigger one. So psychological problems. And third one is fight till the end. Don't give up. Giving up and running away is for those who are weak-minded. The balahinena labhya, nayamatma balahinena labhya. It is not to be attained by the weak-minded. It is to be attained only by the strong-minded and nothing less. And what else we said? Finish the game. Finish what you have started on. Let it not stop. Let it not break. Let it continue and finish and learn what you have started finishing. You have not started learning KATHOPANISHAD. You have started learning Atma Vidya. KATHOPANISHAD is the bus. But destination is your own Atma Vidya, your own Brahma Vidya, your own divine jnana. Therefore, don't stop. Stop not till the goal is reached. Uttishtata, jagrata, prapya, varan, nibodhata. Shurasya dhara, nishita, duratyaya, durgam pathastat, kavayo vadanti. Now you know why it is Shurasya dhara? Do you know why it is durgam patha? This is what Swami says. What you have decided, till you have achieved it, don't give up. What you have asked for, till you get it, don't give up. What you have thought of, till you have manifested, don't give up. And once you have knocked the door, till the door opens, don't turn back. That's all it is. Either divinity must manifest and I must attain Atma Jnana, or I shall not move from here. But turning back and going back, that is not the Lakshana. That is not the quality of a true aspirant sadhaka or a devotee. Having decided to attain this knowledge, let us not give up. Having decided to walk on this path, let us not stop. Having decided to understand and attain it, let us not turn back. Because the divinity should become so happy with us. We have passed all the tests of Brahman. So practical exams is what is going on right now. And you must ensure that you pass the practical exam. Then Brahman becomes so happy with us. He says, here are true aspirants. They are not weak-minded, fickle-minded people who little I shake the boat, rock the boat and everybody is now feeling the heat. They are not, they are very clear. Dhiraha they are. Dhiraha means courage and discrimination. Shuraha, Dhiraha, Viraha. They are, such people only can attain God. This is what KATHOPANISHAD says. So if you think of it any other way, if you feel scared and if you feel troubled and disturbed, it only means that you are not ready. So Brahman is not going to come to you. But if you sustain your vigor, enthusiasm, courage and continue to walk, come what may, that Brahman will take care of everything. Brahman will answer all the questions. Brahman will help you to attain Him, the Brahman itself. So that is the path on which we have started. In this path of Brahma Jnana Yajna, difficulties, obstacles are to be expected. Otherwise these mantras would not have been created of Sahana Bhavatu and Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. They all knew this is the normal way. So why all these troubles did not come so far? Because we were never serious about it. First time we got serious. Now first time we have got into some serious spirituality. And look at the Tapatrayas. So one tapatraya which has come as Adi Bhautika from outside, we can't help it. The whole world with what they are going through, we will have to go through it. But we will come out well. As I said in the beginning, you will develop the resistance to go through it. That's why you say, Atmanam Vindate Viryam. When you know yourself that you are Brahman, you will develop courage. You will develop strength. When you think you are the body, you will become weak. When you think you are Brahman, you are divine himself, courage. Put these ideas into practice now, in the practical laboratory of life, in the Deshakala Paristhiti that you are in. Put these ideas into practice now and see how you benefit from it. See how you will definitely understand the power of these Vedantic ideas. Otherwise, you will never understand. Whole of your life, you can read as many Vedas, Vedantas. At the end of it, you will be simply parrots. And for them, nayam atma pravachanena labhyo, na medayana bahuna shutena. So that is not going to happen. You have invited Brahman. He is going to clean up all the fears, apprehensions, and then only enter the house. So the next, we are going to chapter 2 and Valli 2. Second Valli. The first shloka of Valli 2 is Puram eka dashadwaram ajasya avakra chetasah anusthaya na shochati vimuktascha vimuchyate. This is very relevant for today's times especially. Very practical shloka, very practical verse. So what is the Brahman's definition? Another definition being given here. He says Puram eka dashadwaram, in the city of 11 gates. Now what are these 11 gates? Where is the Pura? Is it Chikbalapura, Dadbalapura? No, it is this Pura, the very body in which we are. It's called Puri or Pura. In that 11 gates are there. What are the 11 gates? 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 big mouth, and 2 small ears, 7 over here. Then navel is considered 8th because when we were in mother's body, we received nutrition through our navel. So that is the 8th. Then genitals are the 9th and excretory organs are the 10th. Okay? Then 11th is there. This is very important because now you start searching for 11th hole, you will be in trouble. There is no 11th real hole. In fact, these are also not holes. They are called khani, holes or apertures. But beyond that, there is the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasagandha and all other faculties. The devatas are staying there. Let us revise which devatas are where. In the eyes, sun, Aditya. In the nose, prana, the vayu. In the mouth, agnihi. And in the ears, disha. In our navel, yama as apana vayu. In our genitals, Varuna as the water. And in our skin, Vanaspati Oshadhaya, the gods of Vanaspati and Oshadhaya. And in our heart, from where moon has come, moon is there in the mind. Where is the mind? Mind is everywhere. It's a kosha. But moon is the deity of the mind. And in the heart, what happened finally? Aitreya Upanishad. Brahman came. Brahman decided. So we'll just go through one shloka of the Aitreya Upanishad just to tell you what it is like. 11th verse of Aitreya Upanishad says, Sa ikshata, he thought. Who? Brahman thought. Katham inbadam mahate syaditi, sa ikshat katarena prapadya iti. He said, how can all these people, there's all these gods, moon and sun and fire and water and yama, all these can live without me. What about me? He thought to himself. And then what? Sa ikshata. He thought to himself, Yadi vacha abhivyahrita, if the mouth knows how to speak, the vacha, and prana knows how to smell and get the energy, and eyes know how to see, and ears are for hearing, and skin is for the touching, and mind is for thinking, and apana is for excreting, and the varuna, which is in the genitals, is for the creation. Then who am I? Koham iti. This is a very important question. This question we don't ask at all to ourselves. We ask others. Kastvam, kastvam, kastvam. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? But koham. Who am I? They say when the child is born, kwah, kwah, he cries. Actually in that cry there is koham, koham you have to hear. So he cries. The baby which is born cries koham, 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 koham like that. And we think baby is crying because it's hungry, baby is crying because it's uncomfortable. Actually baby is crying saying, where have I landed again? Who am I? Who are these strange people here? staring on me and making all kinds of funny noises and gestures and face expressions. Who are these crazy people, the baby thinks? Why am I landed here? Who am I? That Brahman thought. Every gate has been occupied by some god or the other. I have to also enter this body. This is a poetic way of telling. So what did Brahman do? He went to the 12th verse of Aitareya Upanishad tells this. You can read it at your leisure when you have time. This is 11th and 12th verse. In the 12th verse he says, Sa etam eva simanam vidayairtaya dwara prapadyata. What he did, he went to the top, crown of the head, right on top. And what he did, he split it open. Now don't put your finger and search where it has been split. It has not been split physically because Brahman is not physical body. He entered through the Sukshma Rupa in the subtle energy form. And where from he entered? Obviously the best part of your body is your head. And the highest part of your head is the crown of head. Where your hair parts. You see that circular portion. Somewhere there he made a provision to enter. He opened the gate. It's called Vidriti Nama, it said. Saisha Vidriti Nama. Dwas Tat Nandanam. He went to enter through the head and that door he opened, that dwara. It's called Vidriti Nama Dwara. He entered that and that is why that gate is full of joy. Why? Because God's nature is joy. What is the nature of Yama? To take things out. What is the nature of prana? To take things in. What is the nature of mana? To think. What is the nature of eye? To see. What is the nature of nose? To smell. What is the nature of ears? To hear. What is the nature of skin? To touch. What is the nature of Brahman? To be happy. That's why I say be happy always, because that is your true nature. So Brahman entered from here, and the moment he entered, great happiness was experienced. And what happened? Brahman came and settled down in the heart. Remember, heart was empty. That is why that heart is not the physical heart as we saw. It is the space. In deep sleep stage, he stays in this portion. In dream, he stays in this portion, between the eyes, they say. And in the waking, he stays in the right eye, they say. So in the waking, we see the world through our right eye. With little focus, you will know. The first impression that comes is through the right eye, and the left eye complements this immediately. The first reaction is from the right eye. Don't say, no, I am a left-handed, so my left eye should work. No, for everybody, right eye works first. And then left eye comes and completes the image. So that is why Brahman lives in the right eye during the jagrata avastha. Brahman lives in the Bhrumadhya, this is called Agneya Chakra, in the Sapna avastha. And Brahman lives in the heart area, in the Sushupti or Turiya. So that is the idea. And he says, Tasya Traya Avastha Traya Swapna. And all the three are three places where he lives. Avastha Traya it's called. In Jagrata, Swapna and Sushupti. And each of them is a dream only is written in Aitareya Upanishad. It means this waking world is also a dream. And dream world is also a dream. And the deep sleep world also is a dream. Why it said so? Because Brahman alone is real. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Jagat is like the shadow, reflection of Brahman. In Master of the Mind, you have heard those talks where you know that all that we see, hear, taste, smell, touch is nothing but a reflection. Where is the truth? Brahman alone is the truth. So that is the idea that all these three stages are only called as dream stages. Though we call waking, dream and deep sleep. But Aitareya Upanishad calls, he stays in three dream stages. And he says, and the Brahman says, I shall live here, I shall live here, I shall live here. So Brahman says, Ayama vasatho, Ayama vasatho, Ayama vasatha iti. I shall live in this place and this place and this place. So he occupied like this the things inside our body. So that is the idea. We'll go back to the Upanishad again now. It says, Purusham Ekadasha Dwaram. So to explain to you the Ekadasha Dwaram, the 11th door, from where he entered, I explained to you the Aitareya Upanishad. That's why we touched upon that. And what is its nature? Ajasya. It is never born. How important this word is. Body is born and body will die. But Brahman who entered the body was never born. Suppose bulb is there. If bulb gets fused, you can replace the bulb in the bulb holder. Bulb died, but electricity did not die. But electricity was not expressing because bulb died. Like that, Brahman was not manifesting because your body died. You couldn't make out. But when Brahman is expressing, only body is alive. That's why I said, don't worry too much about your body. It's not because doctors, it's not because of you eating food on time, it's not because of anything, it's because of Brahman that body is functioning. It's not because of anything else. If you have a very beautiful bulb and a socket and an ornate holder and no electricity, what's the use? Likewise, you're living, breathing, talking, eating, sleeping, everything you're doing only because of the presence of Brahman within you. If Brahman is not there, nothing will work. That is the idea. This Chaitanya Shakti is what is making. So he is Ajaha. And then Avakra Chetasaha. How is his Buddhi? Avakra Buddhi. Avakra means without any distortion, without any deviations. It's straightforward. Straightforward means it is one and the same all the time. Because Chaitanya is undisturbed by anything that happens. I give this example. In the world outside, Bhutakasha, objects are moving, but the space is not moving. Then go inside into your Chittakasha, thoughts are moving, but mind is not moving. Then go further into your Chidakasha, the awareness, Hridayakasha. All the awareness is coming and going, but that is remaining as it is. So he is Avakra Chetasaha. Your happy feelings and sad feelings don't affect it. They come and go like the clouds go in the sky. If the rain, sky does not become wet. If there is a lightning, sky is not burnt. If there is a smoke, sky is not becoming suffocated. Nothing happens in the sky. Likewise, Avakra Chetasaha. Nothing happens to the Brahma Tattva which is within. And then what should we do then? He says, Anusthaya na shochati. Do Anusthana. Anusthana means meditate on that. Meditate on this idea that Brahman resides in me. I am the very Brahman. That is my true nature. And that is why I have no fear. That is why I have no attachment. That is why I have no anxiety. That is why I have no apprehensions. Because I am Brahman. Therefore, if you meditate on that, what are you going to gain out of it? Na shochati. You will never have any grief or sorrow in life. Sorrow comes from where? Dukkha comes from kama, all desires. Desires are the reason for sorrow. If you have desire for nothing, you have sorrow for nothing. When you desire for something only, if you get it, you are happy. If you don't get it, sorrow. So the idea of sorrow is when you develop desires, all kinds. Don't have any desire, nobody can make you happy, nobody can make you sad. Somebody asked me, in Brahma Jnana, should we be happy or not? Because you say Harsha Shoko Jahati, both happiness and sorrow have to be discarded. So what happens? What is the status of the Brahman? Is he very long-faced, stubborn, and just straight-faced, no expressions, no reactions to anything? Is Brahman like that? No, Aitreya Upanishads say Ananda. Brahma is always in Ananda. The idea of happiness that you have is dependent happiness. It depends on objects, ideas, situations, reactions, achievements, and things like that. And your sorrow is just the opposite of that. When none of this happens, you are sorrowful. But Brahma's Anandam is independent Anandam. Its nature is Anandam. Therefore, there is nothing like what a Brahma Sthiti means. You are not supposed to experience any happiness because you are not supposed to experience duality and sorrow. Yes, there is no duality there. Because for pleasure, there is a word called pain. For happiness, there is a word called sorrow. For Ananda, in the whole Upanishad search, the whole Vedanta, there is no opposite word. Nandati, nandati, nandatyeva. They only know how to enjoy. They don't have any opposite word for Ananda. They have opposite word for Sukha, Dukkha is there. Mana, Apamana is there. Labha, Alabha or Jaya, Ajaya is there. For Ananda, Anananda is not there. Ananda namate loka he used in the beginning. They go to a world where there is no happiness. But Nanda is different from Ananda. Nanda and Ananda are there. But Ananda and Anananda is not there. So the nature of Brahman is that Ananda, which is independent happiness. It is not dependent on time, place, situation. Its nature is to be happy. Like sun's nature is to be bright. Does sun know what is darkness? Can sun ever know what is darkness? We know darkness, but sun does not know anything called darkness. For him there is only one nature, which is light. There is no darkness for sun. It's independent. That's why it is bright. It's independent of an external light. It is bright by its own nature. Therefore, there is no darkness for sun. Likewise, Brahman is Ananda by its own nature. Therefore, there is nothing called Ananda like sun. So, this is the logic that once you realize that na shochati, you will never feel sorrowful. Never you will grieve about anything. You are always in Ananda. Come what may. Good happens, bad happens. That is why sukha dukkha, same krutva, labha, labha, jaya, ajayo. Whatever happens, you are fine. And what happens? Vimuktascha. Once you know that, you become vimukta. Vimukta means completely you are free. Not that you are free today and tomorrow again you will become bound. Not that today you are very happy, tomorrow you will become sorrowful. These dualities don't exist in Brahman. So once you know that your true nature is that Purusham who is living in this Pura, where Madhya Atmani, how is he living? Like Jyoti Adhumakaha. And who is he? Ishanaha, Bhuta Bhavyasya. Therefore, there is no need of any fear. Na tato vijugupsate, na shochati, na kankshati, na dveshti, na ramate, na utsahi bhavati. All this is the same quality of Brahman. And na shochati, will never come to any grief. Because what should he feel sorrowful about? His nature is Ananda. Can you tell sun? Sun, how do you know what is shadow? Do you know what is darkness? What will sun reply? He'll, I don't know. Like that, the person who is Brahmagyani, do you know what is to be sad? He told, I don't know. But you lost so much of money yesterday. So what? I am not sad. So what? You lost your kith and kin. So what? I am not sad. So what? Everybody called you bad names. So what? I am not sad. He'll tell. I don't know what is to be sad. I can't become sad. If sun says, I want to experience what is darkness. Can he experience? I want to experience what is shadow. Can I experience? Sun cannot experience because nature is such. So a Brahma Vidya cannot experience, even he wants to experience. What is sorrow? What is sadness? He will always be happy in all situations. Vimuktascha. So he has become free because our bondage is our desires and the sorrow that comes out of desires. Avidya, kama, karma, I say. Avidya, that ignorance that you are the body is avidya. And kama, because of that desires arise. I want to eat this, see this, touch that, taste that, go here, do that. Don't want to do that. I don't want to meet them. I don't want to eat that. These do's and don'ts are all due to the body consciousness. What is vimukti? Avidya is the illusion, ignorance that you are the body. Desires arise, kama. And because desires arise, karma. Because you have to fulfill the desires, which can be, I want it, so you want to run behind it. I don't want it, so you want to run away from it. Otherwise, you are fulfilling your desires. So because of that work, karya. So avidya, kama, karma. This is called hridaya granthi. This is the knot of the heart. This is the reason why we are stuck in this world. And we worry, we fear, we trouble ourselves and everybody around. Avidya, kama, karma. Now this karma comes, then karma phala will come. Now you have to experience the karma phala. And because of the karma phala, then prarabdha, sanchita karma, agami karma, and the cycle begins. We cannot break this cycle. The only way to break this chakravyuha is to realize Brahman and escape. Otherwise you cannot escape. That is the idea. So he says the one who realizes anusthaya na shochati vimuktascha vimuchyate. Vimukta now becomes free from all the limitations and vimuchyate. Ultimately when he meets his death also is free. There is no rebirth. That is the idea for such a person. They don't have to come back in another body. Another body is not to be, unless God wills so, that they have to come to help others. You have graduated, you don't have to come back to the school, unless you want to become a teacher and come back and help more students. So these people are vimukta now, immediately, and vimuchya later, freed forever at the end. So these people are free even without having gone through the experience of death. As they live, they are free. These people are called as Jivan Muktas. They live in the world like ordinary people, but they are not attached to anything, anyone, any place, any situation. Whatever comes, they take it in their stride and they are only happy because their nature is happiness. Ananda, not even happiness, the Ananda. There is no equivalent of Ananda. We call it bliss. But bliss is like an intense happiness. But Ananda has no equivalent. Likewise, these people are always in Ananda. And what do we do? Vimuktascha. They are free from all bondages now and hereafter. Now as they are, and when they leave the body also, they are free.